also known as error control. Okay, so it is one and the same thing, error handling or error control. It's one and the same thing. Okay, it is divided into two parts. First part is your error detection. Second part is your error correction. Okay, so error detection part contains only around 4 techniques, and error correction part only contains 1 technique. Okay, so error detection, actually what actually it means is that if you're sending some data, so actually the error is of two types. First is your single bit error, and another thing is called your burst error. Okay, so in burst error, what happens is that there are 2 or more bits that are corrupted. Okay, so 2 or more bits are corrupted in this. In this single bit error, only 1 bit is corrupted. Okay, so mostly your you can, there are again, single bit error can be easily detected, and burst error, it means that one or more than 2 or more bits are corrupted. Okay, so what happens is that when you are present at the sender side and you send some message towards the receiver, what can happen on the way that due to some signal outage, one single bit, if this particular bit changes, this will refer to as a single bit error. Okay, so now if there are multiple bit changes on the way, so it will be referred to as a multiple or burst error. Okay, so when there are multiple bits. Okay, so there are many ways to detect various kinds of error. Again, in this particular technique, this is only one technique. You may have heard about the name here. This is Hamming code. Okay, so in digital you may have studied about it. Don't worry, I'll discuss this complete method in detail. If you have studied it, well and good. If you have not studied it, I will discuss it in detail. Okay, so in error detection, we only know that some data is corrupted, but we do not know. Okay, so I'll say I only know that there is a problem or there is a corruption in the sent data, but I do not know where the corruption is. So I do not know this part. Okay, so I may be able to detect that there is some error, but I will not be able to figure out at which part, or at it's a single bit error or a burst bit error. I may not be able to figure it out. Okay, so that in error correction part, I will also I can detect, I can detect as well as I can correct the error. Okay, so in correction part, the receiver has all the responsibility of correcting the error. Okay, so in correction part, only the receiver has all the only the receiver is involved in it. Okay, so when you're sending from sender to receiver, and there is some error in the bit, so the receiver has the responsibility to figure out the error and correct it. Okay, so it will not bother sender to send the bit again. But in error detection, once you find out that there is a problem or there is a error, so it will only detect the error. The sender and the receiver will again send the sender a negative acknowledgement saying that the bits are corrupted, please again send the same data. Okay, so I think we have already discussed negative acknowledgement. It is also possible in case of SR protocol. Okay, so there are 4 techniques that are possible here. First is single parity check, second is two-dimensional parity check, then checksum, and then CRC. Okay, so most popular technique is your CRC. I'll discuss about it. And single parity check and two-dimensional parity check is based on the same lines here. Okay, so single bit parity check, what happens is that if you are saying it's a simple mechanism that maintains either odd parity or a even parity. I'll tell you what is the parity here means. Okay, so by default it will be even parity here by default. Okay, so by default, if nothing is given to you, by default you only have to figure out the even parity here. And if it even a question that it is specifically given that you have to figure out odd parity, then you can go there. Okay, so if nothing is given, you have to set a even parity. Okay, so I'll tell you what is even parity here. Okay, so suppose directly take example, so it will be easy for me as well as for you. So suppose I'll take an example. Okay, so suppose in parity, you want to send this data, that is 8-bit data, that is 1100, 1 1 4 5 1. Okay, so 8 bit data. Okay, so now before sending this data to the receiver here, what do sender do? Sender add one more one more bit towards the end of this. Okay, so it will be called something called a parity bit. Okay, so now what it'll do, it will check the number of ones. Okay, keep in mind parity bit only checks the number of ones. Parity bit only checks the number of ones because it's a even parity, so it will check the number of ones should be even. Okay, so the number of ones should be even. If it is not, it will try to add one to make it even, or it will add nothing. Okay, so just show in this particular case, if you're seeing here, the number of ones are 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so which is odd. Okay, so you have to add a parity bit of 1 to make this whole packet as even. Okay, if your data is something like this, 1100 1100, now what parity bit you add here? uh, 1 2 3 4, because it is based on even parity. What you do, that is already even, so you add a 0 here. Okay, so to make the whole packet as even parity. Okay, so that is how your parity bit works. Okay, so you only have to make the parity as even. So this particular parity bit field will decide if it is odd or if it is even. Okay, so now what can happen is that you will send this particular packet of 9 bits, because it's a 9-bit long packet. Now it will 9 bits, that 9 bits will be of suppose it's a one packet or one frame here. That particular packet will be sent across the medium towards the receiver. Now receiver will only check the parity bit. Okay, so if the parity bit is 1, okay, so from the receiver side, assume if the parity bit is 1 here, it means the data would be odd. Okay, so in the data there are odd number of ones. Okay, so if the parity bit is 0 in the data, it means there are even number of ones. Okay, so it is based on that. Okay, so suppose in this particular case, this particular packet is received here, it will be 11001101, and the parity bit that you get is 1. Okay, so based on this, now the receiver knows that the data I achieved, that the data I received, it will be of odd. Okay, so the number of ones in this particular data will be odd. Okay, so it will count it 1 2 3 4 5, so it is odd, so it will say that I
Sir, someone is removing from me from the meeting again and again.
wait a second. I think I've made new meeting, so that is why it's the problem. I forgot this. Okay, check it now. Now what we able to remove it. Now you see, if the receiver got parity bit as 1, it already know the number of ones in the data will be odd. If the receiver got a parity bit as 0, it will already know the number of ones in the data are even. Okay, so that is the procedure for single bit parity check here. So in this technique, a redundant bit is known as the parity bit. So one, if your data is 8 bit, your data will become 9 bits. Okay, so 8 bits of data plus 1 parity bit, so that 9 bits you will send to the receiver here, which is appended at the end of the data unit, so that the number of ones become even. Therefore the total number of transmitted bits will be 9. Okay, so if the number of ones is odd, then the parity bit will be 1 here. So to make it even, it will be 1, and it is appended at the end. And if the number of ones is even, the parity bit 0 will be appended at the end. Okay, so after receiving, at the receiving end, the parity bit is calculated from the received data bits. Okay, and compared with the received parity bit. Okay, so actually you actually at the receiver side, you only check if the data contains even number of ones. So actually at receiver side this happens. Okay, so it will only check that the 9 bit should have even number of ones. If it has even number of ones, then you can directly say that I got the correct data. Okay, this technique generates a total number of ones as even, so it is known as even parity checking. So again, there is another method, that is odd parity checking. So in this particular case, you just have to make the sequence as odd. Okay, it is one and the same thing, only by default it will be even parity, but if you want to change it, it can be odd parity as well. Okay, so keep in mind in parity we only check the number of ones. So there is also a mistake here. Most of the student will get confused that to check a 0 or a 1. So always keep in mind you check in parity case, you always check the number of ones. Okay, so now this is the case here. This is simply the diagram here, that is 1 0 is 1 2 3 4 5. So there are 5 ones here. So it means you have to add at the parity bit, you have to add a 1 here. Okay, so you have to add a 1 at the parity bit, and this transmission will be transmitted, and that the receiver side it will only check that the uh, number of ones should be even here. Okay, so compute parity bit if it is even, so the number of ones if it is even, so accept the data. If it is not even, you can reject the data. Okay, so there are many, this is the simplest method to implement here. So you can directly there are drawbacks of this method as well. So suppose what you do, so just take example like this one. So suppose I'm taking an example of something like this. Okay, so 4 bits. Now check 1 2 3 4. So the parity bit that we have added here is 0 here. Now what can happen is that in this particular case you got two different error, and it has no effect on parity bit. Okay, suppose this particular bit is changed to 1 and this particular bit is changed to 0. Okay, so suppose this happens when you are transmitting the data. Okay, so this will be 0 and this will be 0, and then this. Okay, so parity bit. Now when the receiver checks, it will check the even parity. So it will check there are 4 number of ones, it will say that the data is correct, but actually the data that the sender send is not actually received by the receiver, because there are some errors. So the error possibility is like that the second bit changed to 1 and the fourth bit changed to 0. Okay, so it has no effect on parity. Okay, so that is one disadvantage of single parity checking, that cannot, that the error is occurred in such a way that it has no effect on the parity bit. Okay, so that can happen. And if it can again, the one first single drawback is that it can only detect single bit errors. Okay, so single bit errors are very rare, so parity bit can only be checked by using this. Another thing is if two bits are interchanged, then it cannot detect error. Okay, so in this particular case you can see the two bits here are interchanged and there is no effect on parity. Okay, so that is the drawback of it. Okay, so to again strengthen this method, we have developed two-dimensional parity check. Okay, so the performance of this single bit parity check can be increased by including 2-bit parity check. Now what you do, you take the parity at row, you take the parity at column. Okay, so whatever, I'll show you the example here. You calculate the parity at row as well as you calculate the parity as column as well. Whatever you got here will be transmitted. Okay, so I'll show you. Okay, so this is the example. So this is the data, that is, this is the original data. So I'm just copying it 1100 1110. So 10. So there is a problem here, so that is why I'm writing the data here 111010, and then there is a 0 1 1 1 0 0 1 0, and then 0 1 0 1 0 0 1 0. Okay, so this, suppose this is the data that you are supposed to send. What you do, you in this particular case more data will be sent. Okay, so in this particular case you are not sending only 8 bits, you have to send more than 2 or 3 sets of 8 bits. Okay, either it can be 2 8-bit set or 3 8-bit set or 4 8-bit set. Okay, so keep in mind the two-dimensional parity check, it is not suitable for only a single 8-bit. Okay, so at least you require two 8 bits data to transmit. Okay, so that in that way your technique will be more effective if you only send one 8-bit data. So single parity bit is already available on that. Okay, so when you're sending more data, what you do, you take this data and you calculate a two-dimensional parity. Now how can you do this? So calculate the parity on this row side and calculate the parity on the column side. Okay, so check it 1 2 3 4 5 ones, you can add one here to make it as even. 1 2 3 4 5, again there are 5 ones, you can add one here. 1 2 3 4, so you can add a 0 here. 1 2 3, you can add a 1 here. Okay, in the similar case you can check from the column wise as well. So 1 2 3, there is no 1 here, so it means that it is already even. So 0 1 is also even. Okay, so there is no need to add extra 1 here. 1 2 3 4, it's also even, there is no need to add it. Only 1 1 is here, so you have to add it. Okay, so this is third. 2 ones, do not need to add it. 3 ones, you have to add it. 2 ones, you do not need to add it. 3 ones, you have to add it. And 1 2, there are 2 ones here, you do not need to add it. Okay, so calculate the parity of this as well. So it will be 3 ones, you have to add it. Okay, so now what you do, you take this particular data that you received and you send this data uh, along with this. Okay, so the data will here will be 9 extra bits, that will be 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 0 1. Okay, so this is the calculated parity data that will be sent from the sender to the receiver. Okay, so again based on this, the everything will be calculated at as usual. Okay, so it will again at the receiver side, it will again arrange the data in such a way, and it will again calculate the parity row wise and column wise. So that is more effective than only calculating the parity on single one dimensional. Okay, so two dimensional parity check is a bit more what you say reliable than only a single bit parity. Okay, so again you see, keep seeing here, when you're sending the data you have to send some extra data. Okay, so you're seeing here, this is your parity data. Okay, so again this methods, if you're seeing here, every method you have to transmit extra to for error detection here. So again it's also if you're thinking here, it's also a kind of a overhead here. Okay, so when you're sending a data, you are including some more data. Again, if you are seeing here for 1 2 3 4, so four packets here, so every packet is around 8 bits, so 32 bits. Okay, so sorry, 8 into 4, it's you are for every 32 bits you are sending around 199 extra parity bits. Okay, so it's kind of overhead, because for every 32 bits almost you are sending 9 bits. Okay, so if I increase the number to like a million bits, so this particular parity bit number will also get increased. Okay, so that is why we refrain from using this parity technique. It's one of the simplest technique, but still we refrain it from using, because in this techniques we have to send extra data that is very high. Okay, so now again the drawbacks will be the same drawback, that if your bits are changed systematically in such a way that it does not impact the parity. Okay, so again this technique will be only applicable to 2 bits, because it is 2 dimensional, so this cannot detect the 4-bit errors or more in some cases. Okay, so it can detect 2 or more, 2 up to 3, but still it cannot go beyond that. So this is also a case. Okay, another, this is now the popular technique that I'll discuss about you, that is your, before discussing checksum, I'll discuss CRC. Okay, it is one of the most important techniques, so I'll discuss about this. Okay, so checksum, there are two things here. First is your checksum generator, and another was your checksum. Okay, so there are two techniques. So I'll write, there are some important points that many of us miss here. Okay, so CRC, the full form of CRC is cyclic redundancy check. Cyclic redundancy check. Okay, so cyclic means you have the cyclic code. So that cyclic code, if you know about gray code, that is there. So don't worry about that cyclic code there. Okay, so check here will mean receiver will check, and redundancy means that your actual data and some redundant data that I will send across with your actual data. Okay, actual data but some redundant data. Okay, so redundant means that some repeated data. I'll show you what this actually is. Okay, so now suppose you want to send something to sender. Suppose I'm sending this particular bits format, that is 101111 to sender. Okay, so before sending the data towards the receiver from sender, there is one thing that they both agree on, that is CRC generator. Okay, so before establish a communication between sender and receiver, both have agreed on something called CRC generator. Okay, so this CRC generator can be generated by the sender CPU, any number, it can be any random number. So in this particular case, suppose that number is 1101. Okay, so based on the CRC generator, there are two things. There are two things that you have to write. Okay, so if the again, keep in mind that CRC generator will already be known by the sender and receiver. Okay, so this again will be given to you in question. If I ask you some question, it particular generator will be given to you. Okay, so suppose now based on this CRC generator, there are one point that you have to know, that if CRC generator, okay, so if CRC generator is suppose it's 4 bits here in this case, then you have to add 3 zeros at the end of the sender. Okay, so at the end of the sender's data. Okay, so at the end of sender's data, so that is why I'm writing it, so don't forget about it. Okay, so if the CRC generator is 4 bits, you have to add 3 bits. If the CRC generator is 5 bits, you have to add 4 zeros at the end of the sender's data. If the CRC generator is n bits, then you have to add n minus 1 zeros at the end of the sender's data. Okay, so based on CRC generator, there is one thing, there is another thing, I will figure it out, but still the first thing that you have to keep in mind, that's very important, that this is the algorithm of CRC, calculating the CRC. Okay, so based on this, you have to find out that on this base of CRC generator, you have to add 3 zeros. Okay, so because it's 4-bit, I have to add 3 zeros at the end of the sender data. Okay, so now your sender data will become this. Okay, so now what I'll do, now this is the data. Now this is again like a division, but actually there will be no division. So what is CRC generator here? 1101. Okay, so it looks like a division, but actually it is not a traditional division here. What you do, you just you do not need to write what you say the answer here, like if you remember, quotient, remainder, divisor. Okay, so remainder is the part that you got in the end, divisor is this, quotient is the answer. So you do not need to write the quotient here. So we do not depend upon the quotient, so there is no need of quotient here. So I'll need the remainder in this part. Okay, so now what you do, just write the number as it is. So it will always goes on 1. Okay, so right here 1101. It is not a typical division, it's very different. Okay, so you write the 1101 as it is. Now again in this particular case, if it is a traditional division, what you do, you just subtract this over this. Okay, so in this particular case, you have to take something called a XOR. Okay, so you have to take a XOR of this number. So I'll write the XOR table. If you remember what is XOR, if there are two cases, 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. So the when there are same input, the answer is 0. Okay, same input, answer is 0. Different input, answer is 1. Okay, so this is how you calculate XOR. And again, if I tell you something extra, XOR is also known as modulo 2 circuit. Okay, so modulo 2 circuit. Why it is called modulo 2 circuit? Because how can you do it? So I can say that 0 0 0 1 1 0 and 1 1. Okay, so add it. If you add 0 plus 0, it will be 0, and you take a modulus with 2. Okay, so modulus is whatever is the remainder. Okay, so if you take a modulus with 2, you will get only 0 as a remainder. Okay, in the similar way, 0 plus 1 is 1. You take a modulus with 2. Again, this will not be divided by it, so it will be, again the remainder will be 1 here. So again it's 1. In the similar case, 1 plus 0 is again 1. If you take a modulus with 2, it will be again 1. And here 1 plus 1 is 2. And if you take a modulus with 2, it will be 0. Okay, so 2 modulus 2. 2 ones the 2, and the remainder here is 0. Okay, so we are seeing here why it is called a modulus circuit is just if you add the numbers of the input and you take a modulus of it, you can easily calculate the XOR. Okay, so a resulting XOR. Okay, so it is not very useful in this case, but if I give you I give you a question like what will be the XOR of this? Okay, so what you'll do, there are three ones, so it will be 3 modulus 2. You can directly say it is 1 here. Okay, so that is the advantage of knowing that XOR is a modulus 3 or modulus 2 circuit. Now if you are not doing that, you first have to calculate this XOR, then whatever is the answer of this, then you have to calculate this, then this, then this. So again, it's in the digital. You already have known about this method. I don't know, so still I'm just giving you some extra knowledge if you are doing XOR gate. So only one thing to remember in XOR: when the input are same, the answer is 0. Okay, so now calculate XOR here. Input same 0, input different 1, different 1, same 0. Okay, so oh sorry, I have not included the 3 extra zeros here, so include 3 extra zeros here. Yeah, okay, so now again write every term here. So just to ensure that there is no error, so I always write every term at the end. Now start with the proceeding 1 here. Now write the same term 1 1 0 1 and again calculate it. Okay, so different 1, same 0, same 0, same 0. Okay, so again write everything that is there. Again write the same thing 1 1 0 1. Again here different 1, different 1 0 0, and then you write the same thing here. Okay, so it is 1 1. Again write the same thing 1 1 0 1 here. You will get different here is 1, same 0, same 0, same 0. Okay, so now in this, whatever you get in the end, now it is not possible to write 1 1 0 1 here. What you get here, you take 3 bits out of it. So from the remainder, when you take 3 bits out of it, this particular thing is referred to as your CRC. Okay, so now this particular thing is referred to as your CRC. Okay, so now what I can write here. Now again, I'm writing the second thing that is most important. If the least significant LSB 3 bits are CRC. Okay, so LSB 3 LSBs are your CRC. Okay, so what is the meaning of it? If your CRC generator is 4 bits, then your CRC will be again at the remainder, whatever you get, your CRC will be 3 bits. And if your CRC is 5 bits, if your CRC generator is 5 bit, your CRC will again be 4 bits. So it can conclude, if your CRC generator is n bits, your CRC will be n minus 1 bits. So there are two things. If your CRC generator is n bits, there are n minus 1 0 you will add at the end. And if your CRC generator is n bit, there are n minus 1 bits you will consider as a CRC. Okay, so when you are not able to divide. Okay, so I am not able to divide because it is 1101, and the starting term here, you will always start from proceeding 1. So the proceeding 1, you get only 1 here. Okay, so every term you say, I'll start from the proceeding 1, from this one, from this one, and from this one. And if you're seeing here I cannot write because this is only 1 here. So I cannot write this term under this 1101 because this term missing. So that is why I've stopped. Okay, so from this I have figured out whatever will be the 3. If the CRC generator is 4 bits, it will be 3 bits that will be considered as CRC. Okay, so now what you do, again, this is simple division method here. So what I'll do, from the sender side, when I calculated the CRC, I'll take the what I'm sending. I was sending 1 0 1 1 0 1 1, and I write this CRC. I write this CRC at the end. I'll send this particular thing to the receiver. Okay, so the receiver. Okay, so 3 zeros are added to calculate the CRC. When I calculated the CRC in the original data, I will add the CRC at the end. I will send it to the receiver. Okay, so now at the receiver side, again, when the receiver calculated, because obviously this is the remainder, and if you are add this remainder to the end of it, it will get a remainder as 0. Okay, so I'll show you. So 1 0 1 1 0 1 1 0 0 1. Okay, so this is the receiver this is what receiver got. Okay, so only the CRC generator is already been known by the two terms here. So it will be 1 1 0 1 here. Okay, so again follow the same procedure. You will get at the end you will get a 0 here. Okay, so check it, 1 1 0 1. Yeah, so same input 0, different input 1, say different input 1, again same input 0. Again write all the terms here. So this, there is no mistake here. I always write all the terms. Okay, so now it will be 1 1 0 1 here again. Different 1, same 0, same 0, same 0. Okay, so I'll write 1 1 0 0 1. Okay, so now again write 1 1 0 1. Okay, so now here will be different 1, different 1, same 0, same 0. Okay, so now if you figure out, it will be 1 1 0 1. So this is your remainder, that is 0 0 0 0. Okay, at the end, now the receiver, when it got a 0 0 0 0 at the end, it will know that what I got is the right answer. Okay, so suppose if your data bit got corrupted, suppose third bit got corrupted. Okay, so third bit got corrupted. Third bit means this one. So I'll say that 1 1 0 1 at this bit got corrupted here. So I'll write 1 0 0. So it will be corrupted to 0. So now be 1 0 1 1 0 0 1. Okay, so if you figure, if you again follow the same procedure here, you will find out that it will be 1 1 0 1, same 0, same 0, different 1, same 0. Okay, so again you write all the things as it is. 1 1 0 1, different 1, same 0, different 1, same 0. Again write 1 1 0 0 1. Okay, so again write 1 1 0 1 here, and again 0 1 1 0. So write all the things as it is. Again 1 1 0 1, same 0 0 0 0. So the remaining part that I got is 0 0 1. Okay, so in the end I do not got the remainder as 0. So I know that there is some problem in the data that is sent by the sender. So I'll ask that you should send this particular data again to me. Okay, so that is the advantage of it. Again, you can also, your in questions, what happens that sometimes your CRC generator is given in the polynomial form. Okay, so your CRC generator sometimes is given in polynomial form. So how can you figure it out and what actually is your answer here? Okay, so suppose it is given like x raised to power 3 plus x plus 1. Okay, so your CRC generator is given like this, x raised to power 3 plus x plus 1. Okay, so what you can do, how can you figure out CRC generator from this term? Okay, so sometimes it is given in polynomials. Okay, so now keep in mind that write like this, x raised to power 0 plus x raised to power 1 plus x raised to power 3 and sorry, x raised to power 2 and x raised to power 3. Okay, so anything raised to power 0 is again 1. So this is your constant term, because this is, if you remember, this is your constant term. I am again following the quadratic equation here. Okay, so x raised to power 1 is x, x raised to power 2 is x2, and it is x3. Okay, so now what do you see in this particular term, which particular term is given, it is 1, and if a particular term is not given, it is 0. Okay, so x raised to power 3 is given to you in this question, so this particular term is 1. X raised to power 1 is given to you in this question, so this particular term is also 1. This constant term is also given to you, so this is also 1. This is not given, so it will be 0. Okay, so thus your CRC generator in this case will be 1 0 1 1. Okay, so that is how you figure out if your CRC generator is given in polynomial form. Okay, so suppose you figure it out, you just tell me what will be the answer for this one when the data is 1 1 0 1 0 and the CRC generator is given like this. Okay, so tell me what will be the answer in this case, x raised to power 3 plus x plus 1. Okay, so take like 5 minutes and tell me the answer for this one. Okay, so just tell me what will be the CRC in this case.
So 111.
111
110.
110. 110. So this is your CRC. So what, this is the remainder I'm talking, this one. Okay, so keep in mind this one. This is the one I want, CRC, this thing. Have you divided it? Again, I think you may not be adding the number of zeros. Okay, so I'll show you if you are making a mistake here. So this is the data, because if you already know that what is my CRC generator here is x3 x plus x. So I have already figured it out. It is 1011. So again, because the CRC generator is 4-bit, I will add 3 zeros here. Okay, so when I add 3 zeros, now start the division process. So it will be 1011 0 1. What is this? 1 and then 0. Okay, so write all the things as it is. 0 0 0 0. Okay, so 1 0 1 1 again. This is 1 1 1 and 0, and again write all the zeros here. 1 2 3. Okay, 1 0 1 1, different one, same 0, different one, same 0, and write 0 0 0. Okay, so again start with the proceeding one here, that is 1 0 1 1, different one, same 0, same 0, same 0, and it will be in the end you will get 2 zeros. Okay, so in the, I think I got something wrong here. Yeah, that is 100, but actually the answer is 010. Okay, so I think I also made a mistake. Just let me again try it. It will become 11010. Sometimes it's happened because when you're doing
Third
division.
step, taken the 3 zeros. Actually, there is 2.
Why it should be 2? Here I have taken 3 zeros.
No, sir. In the third step.
Okay. Here. So. Okay, so I have yeah. Here it will be 3 zeros. Okay, so different one, different one, different one. Yeah, there are 3 zeros here, so that is the problem. Okay, so 1 2 3. Yeah. Okay, I'll do it again. So just
No, sir. Below this step, you have taken the 3 0, but it is 2.
yeah, this one.
Below this one. Yes, this one, sir.
Yeah,
Which just underlined. Yes, sir. This one. Yes.
this one.
There are two zeros only. You have written 3 here.
So, okay, so there will be a mistake. I'll do it again, so don't avoid any confusion. Okay, so 0 1, different one, and then again. So always this kind of thing happens. Okay, so always try to include all the terms here. So it will be 1011. So it will be 1 1, then 1, and then 0. Then again I'll include 3 zeros here. Okay, so again 10 0 10 11, then 1 0 1, and then 0. Okay, so the remaining will be 2 zeros here. Okay, so this is the problem, I think. Yeah, and then you write 1 0 1 1, and again you will figure it out. It will 1 0 0 0 and then 0. Okay, so your remainder will here be 0 1 0. Okay, so keep in mind. So what happens is that when we are doing these kinds of question, always when you are writing something from up, it will always be sometime missed. Okay, so that is why this I occurred a particular error here. So you might be, so always try to write these things. Okay, if you do this particular thing, there will be no error here. Okay, so that is how you can avoid it. Okay, so now this is your CRC generator. Now what you do with this particular data, what your data is 11010, you will send the same thing, that is 010. Okay, so this will be sent across the sender, and the sender will calculate this. The result will be 0. Okay, so you already know this. Okay, so that is how you calculate your error in case of CRC. Now if you're saying here there is less, if they're saying if you are less number of bits that have to be sent. Okay, so only the based on the CRC generator. So if you calculate the CRC generator to be less, you can, I can again reduce the number of bits here. Okay, so if CRC generator is 4 bits, the number of bits that is sent, the CRC is only 3 bits. Okay, so for a bigger calculation also you can consider this. Okay, So now this is your CRC. This is after that, if you figure it out, you will find this particular. I don't think I have to. Yeah, this is a different example that is given. You can look at this example and you can go for Geeks4Geeks site. You will find different examples of CRC there also. Okay, so you can refer to any other site, but again, the main concept is two. Okay, so when you are calculating CRC, you have to know CRC generator first thing. Based on the CRC generator, you have to add whatever. If the CRC generator is n, you have to add n-1 zeros to the end of the data, sender's data. Okay. Another thing is your CRC will be based on the number of bits of CRC generator. Okay, so if your CRC generator bits are n, your CRC will be n-1. Okay, so n-1 CRC will be generated here. Okay, so this is the example given to you. You can check it out. So this is for your own reference. And again, the difference is also given between flow controller and control. Okay, so now checksum. Checksum is one of the simplest technique. Okay, so what you do, suppose I'll take simple example, you will easily understand it. Okay, so checksum is again applicable. It is applicable 16. It is applicable on 16 bits. It is applicable on 32 bits. It is applicable on 8 bits as well. So it depends upon the user. What the user wants. So keep in mind, we use 32-bit checksum in data link layer, and we use 16-bit checksum in other layers like in your network layer. So in this network layer, mostly the checksum will be used in IP protocol, your TCP and your UDP. Okay, so there I'll show you when I come to it. In the header of TCP and UDP, there will be checksum bits given to you. Okay, so now what you do, suppose I am performing a 8-bit checksum. Okay, so just for the sake of simplicity, I'm taking 8-bit checksum. So what it means is that suppose your data is some in this stream. Okay, so this is your data that is given to you. So you divide this data into 8-bit format. So this is 8 bits, like it will be suppose it says 0 0 0 0 1 0 1 0, something like this. Okay, so again it contains 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits and 8 bits. Okay, so how to calculate this checksum is you just take the cumulative sum of all the 8 bits that are given to you. Okay, so what you do, suppose if you figure it out, this is actually in binary, it is 10 here. You calculate it. It is in decimal, it is 10. So 10 10 is again 10 here. So what is 10 10? If you figure it out, 1 2 4 8. So 8 plus 2 is 10. Okay, so again, suppose in this particular bit that is arranged in a bit, there is another number that is given as 1. Okay, so 4 ones, and then in the end 2 got 1. Okay, so in decimal it is calculated as 1. Something it is here, it is given as 2. Suppose I'm taking anything. You can take anything. So it will be not as easy as this one, but I'm just taking it. So suppose it will be given as 6 here, there it is given as 5, there it is given as 4, there it is given as 1, again it is given as 2. Okay, some numbers are given to you. Okay, so means that it means that the 8-bit binary numbers are given to you, 8-bit binary number, that is 0011. So I'm just taking a decimal equivalent to it. Okay, so there is no need, actually it is not mentioned in the algorithm, you have to take a decimal rate, but I'm assuming that whatever the number here is written, I have to, because I have to add it. So that is why I'm just for the simplicity, I'm taking a decimal number. Okay, suppose the 10 number is that the decimal equivalent of 10 number is here. So it means that it will be arranged in 0011 format. So I'm assuming it's 10. Okay, so I'll tell you about it. Now you just add it. So it will be 11. What you add, 11 plus 2, it will be 13. 13 plus 3, it will be 16. 16 plus 6, it will be I think 22. 22 plus 5, it will be 27. 27 plus 4, it will be 31. 31 plus 1, it is 32. 31 plus 32 plus, okay, so 34. In the end, when you added all the numbers, you got 34. The sum of all the numbers, it will be arranged in binary format. So you have to do a binary addition. Suppose 1 is present here, then you have to do calculations like this particular number is present. So you will add something 110, then whatever you are doing. So you just adding the numbers. Okay, so I'm just assuming that here 10 number is present and here 1 2 3 4 everything is there. Okay, So now in the end, when you get the number as 34, what you do, these numbers will be already be there. Okay, so in the bit, suppose this is the number that you got. These numbers are written here 6, 5, 4, 1, 2. Now what you do in the end, you take the complement of it, or you take the negative of it, that is minus 34, and placed it at the end of the packet. Okay, so what at the end of the packet that you want to transmit. Okay, so what happens is that when the receiver got this particular packet, it will again calculate the checksum. So what it will find till here, it will find plus 34, and it will, after that it will find minus 34. In the end it will get 0. Okay, so if at the receiver side, it will add all the numbers that is present for checksum, and in the end it will get a 0. Okay, so if it is getting a 0, then it means that your data is correct. If it is not getting a 0, that means that the data is, there is some problem in the data. It will again ask for the data. Okay, so this is your checksum. It's very simple. You just add all the numbers. Whatever you get in the end, you take a negative of it and place it at the end of the transmitting. Okay, so whatever you're transmitting, you have to place it at the end of the packet. Okay, in the header, because the checksum will be given in the header. Okay, so what you do, you take the data, add it, and you add the checksum. Okay, so when you add it, the answer should be 0. If it is not 0, it means that there is some error. If it is 0, it means that there is no error. Okay, so this is how your checksum works. It's as simple as that. Okay, so if you look at it, you will find checksum generator and checksum checker. So I'm just simply showing you the procedure here. So again, your section 1, section 2, your bits are divided. What you do, you divide, you add all of these bits, you add all of those bits. So take the sum of it, and what you do, take the complement of the sum. Okay, so when you take the complement of the sum, this particular thing will be called your checksum. Okay, so you add this. So in this case, minus 34 will be added to the data, whatever you're sending. In the end of it, you are adding minus 34. Okay, so what the sender, the receiver will do, it will calculate it. It will end at the end, it will get a 0. Okay, so you look for it. What are the terms here? That is checksum generator and checksum checker. You can take a look and you will easily know that what is checksum generator and checksum, okay, checker. One more thing here, because I've shown you that you will be thinking that suppose it's in binary. Okay, because this particular numbers will be in binary, so it can happen that two 8-bit number can result in 9 bits. Okay, so that can happen. Okay, because if you're seeing, suppose I'll take a case of like 0 0, suppose 1 0 0 1, and then 0 0 1 0 0 0 1. So this is 8-bit number 4 4. Okay, so again take it 1 0 0 0 0 0 0 0. Okay, so when you're performing checksum of this number and this number, because I already told you this will be in binary. Okay, so what will happen? It will happen something like this. You have to do addition. Now what is the addition of it? 1 plus 1, it is 0, and there is 1 carry. Okay, so this is the binary addition rule. Okay, 1 plus 1 is 0 and 1 carry. Okay, so 1 plus 1 is 0 and there is 1 carry. Now this is the problem here. Okay, so if you place a 1 here, your checksum operator is not no longer remain 8-bit checksum. Okay, so it will be 9-bit checksum, but actually we said we are calculating 8-bit checksum. So in order to get rid of this problem, what we do, this particular one is added at the end. So this is something called wrap around carry. Okay, so in wrap around carry, so this number will become, we do not write this number here, but we will wrap this carry around and again add it. So it will become 1 plus 1 0, 1 carry, and then 1, and whatever you got the number, this number will be considered here. So keep in mind, when you're adding two 8-bit numbers, the result can be 9-bit. So in order to avoid this problem, we have invented something called a wrap around carry. So always when your carry is generated, it will be added in the term. So that is how your number will never become of 9 bits. Your number will always remain 9. Your number will always remain as 8-bit. Okay, so that is the problem that we face in checksum, but this is solved by wraparound carry. Okay,
So the complement we would be writing would be this number after the wraparound carry, right?
Yeah, whatever you got here, you take the complement of this number and you write it at the end. Okay. At the receiver side, again, the wraparound carry will also be considered. Okay. So there are methods that can find out that the carry will be generated. That is why this is, again, I'm saying, if you take any other procedure, it's again a very complicated one because of this wraparound carry at the sender or the receiver side. This particular thing is very difficult to figure it out. Okay. So because if you are thinking here, suppose I'll take this case, because I am following a wraparound carry case, always wrapping around carry. Suppose I can take an example. So I'm taking 4-bit. Okay, so that I'm taking 4-bit checksum, so it will be easy for me. Suppose I am sending the data like 1100 and then 1010 and then so 1111. Okay, so suppose I want to send this data towards the sender. Now what I'll do, I'll add these three numbers, so it will be 1100. First will be added to this one, so it will be 0 1 1, and then there will be a wraparound carry, so I'll add it here. Okay, so it will be 1 1 1 and then 0. So I'll add 0 1 1 1 with this one, that is 1 1 1 1. Okay, so it will be 0 1 1 0 carry, and then 0 plus 1 is 1, and a 1 1 0 carry, and then 0 plus 1 is 1, again 1 plus 1, again 1 plus 1 is 0. I have to add a carry wraparound, so it will become this one. Okay, so whatever is the answer I got, I'll say that I'll take the negative of it. Okay, so here I will add 0 1 1 1. So again, if in the digital you already know how to represent, this is represented in 2 complement form, so I'm just representing it with a negative here. Actually it will be in 2's complement form, so I do not want to complicate the thing here. So because I am teaching one thing, if I think you already know 2's complement, how can you represent a negative number in 2's complement, but I'll not go in detail because this is digital part. Okay, so again, it is not necessary that you know how in Cn how 2's complement is calculated. Suppose this is the answer. Now till here, again wraparound carry is followed here. Okay, so wraparound carry is followed here. If you add it, you will again get 0 1 1 1. So because this process is followed, so it will be again 0 plus 0 1 1 1, and you again add this one with it, because it is a negative, you will again get a 0. Okay, so that is how you figure it out. Again, this is not a very effective technique. Actually, no, nothing is a very effective technique. So actually we are blessed in computer networks. We are blessed in such a way that these methods are not actually, it is very less, I'll say that it is not very extensively used. Okay, so most of the time you will not get an error. You will not get any error most of the time. Okay, so our methods are so reliable that you will not get error. So there is no need to go into that in practicality. So if it is given in your syllabus, you can refer to it. Okay, so this is, you can refer to this PPT. So in this, your error detection is completed. In the next lecture I will discuss about error correction. Okay, so thank you for listening. You can move on to the next one. I've taken some extra bit of your time.